current system is fairly functional and intact, the affirmative can prove the urgency and the necessity of the complementary plan that we have to abandon death penalty and change the whole system all of a sudden. Therefore, we the affirmative are strongly against the abolition of the death penalty due to the aforementioned reasons. Thank you. Now I'm ready for cross-examination.
First affirmative, cross-examine, first negative.
Thank you for your comprehensive speech. So you stated an evidence from the U.S. that
I stated a research
that the death penalty deters crime. However, do you believe that since the U.S. culture is different from Taiwan, therefore it should not be applicable to the same society?
I don't, because I believe that the study was conducted with extreme discretion using exaggerated data.
But do you believe that different social factors could have different influences on the crime deterrence?
Yes.
And therefore, if different social factors have more influence in the death penalty, then the death penalty does not need to exist. Do you believe this?
Could you rephrase your question? Sorry.
If social factors can influence the deterrence of the crime rate more than the death penalty, then is the existence of the death penalty unimportant?
We believe that death penalty does have the power to deter crime. So even if other factors do have influence on it, we believe that the death penalty should still exist.
Thank you. I believe you also stated an example from Singapore. Can you restate that?
No, I said that such as Japan and Singapore still preserve the option of death penalty.
Thank you. However, are you aware that Singapore also provides caning, and there is really different from Taiwan society, and therefore should not be applied?
Yes and no. Yes, because I know what you're talking about. No, because I don't see how it cannot be applied.
All right, thank you. Could you state the date of the poll the public opinion was conducted?
The date?
Yes.
2015. 2015 July.
Thank you. Do you know that it was conducted after a month after murder of a girl, and therefore could be influenced? The public could be irrational.
Perhaps, but you have to have evidence to prove that.
Thank you. Do you have any evidence that the death penalty actually does provide consolation to victims?
No.
Thank you.
Second affirmative, constructive speech. 4 minutes.
Good afternoon, honorable judges and fellow debaters. As the second debater of the affirmative side, I would like to detail our plan before responding to the negative. In our plan, we first focus on the convicts. Instead of imposing death penalty, life imprisonment without parole, LWOP, should be enacted for 3 reasons. Firstly, it's an alternative with public support. According to a poll done by TVBS in 2015, with life imprisonment as an alternative, the percentage of those who agree to the abolition of death penalty increases from 11% to 33% in 5 years. With the drastic increase, we can see that public gradually accept this idea. Secondly, by isolating the criminals, it can effectively prevent the recidivism. Thirdly, LWOP is reversible. By keeping the convicts alive, it gives the convict a chance to be proved innocent and be freed when the misjudgment occurs. In our plan, comprehensive in-prison labor work will be coordinately implied with LWOP. By doing so, it can reduce the burden of taxpayers. Further, we would like to widen the categories of work like food processing, handicrafts, or carpenter. This kind of work offers a sense of accomplishment instead of the burden of repetitiveness. And also, we would like to clarify that, of course, we have the punishment when the convicts refuse to do labor work. That is confinement. And also, in prison labor work, in prison education and religious practice are available to help reform the convicts. Hence, it fulfills the ultimate goal of our laws to reform and educate the convicts. Then we would like to address to the convict. We would like to enhance the restorative justice system. It is a communication platform between the victims and convicts. According to the data from Taiwan Ministry of Justice, in the attempted case from 2000 to 2015, 72% of 548 cases that went through the communication process are topped off with agreement. Also, its function to relieve the victim's family has improved in previous successful case, Ms. Tu's case. We will also improve the individual counseling session for the victim's family by hiring professional therapists and seeking for volunteers to go through 120 hours training before they serve. Finally, in responding to the negative side, first, we doubt if death penalty can really do the deterrence of crimes. After restarting executing 4 people in 2010, one Xinan tragedy happened in a month. In 2011, 2 weeks right after executing 5 people and rendered 16 to death, a teenage girl was raped and murdered in Yunlin. This clearly shows that death penalty can neither deter the severe crimes nor maintain social order in Taiwan. And then public opinion, we doubt if it is reliable. Like as affirmative 1 mentioned, in 2015, a girl was killed, and we can state that after some tragic murder happened, people tend to be more irrational. And second, we still focus on the miscarriage of justice. As long as we cannot avoid misjudgment, we should not give the government the right to kill. And they doubt that LWOP should not be abolished in Taiwan because of the cultural differences. But the countries that provide are Japan and Singapore. They all have the different system from Taiwan. So in conclusion, we the affirmative have proved that death penalty should be abolished in Taiwan, and only by adopting our alternative plan can the problem be solved. Thank you. I'm now ready for cross-examination.
First negative, cross-examine, second affirmative. 2 minutes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You just mentioned the opinion poll that if you adopt life without parole, that the number rise from 11% to 33%, right?
Yes.
Do you believe that 33% is a really high number?
Yes, but it's,
Yes?
no, but we focus on is the increase. It's just in 5 years an increase 20%.
Okay, but we still believe that 33% isn't really high. And you believe that that life without parole is reversible?
Life is
It's
reversible. Yes.
right? And but if this person was put into jail and then he later after 10 years he was let out, and how could you make up those 10 years he lost? Time is as irreversible as life is. Right?
Yes, but we believe that we still keep the life for them, so we can compensate them by money. But compare with death penalty.
You mentioned that you're going to do labor work.
Yes.
And you said that you're going to put them into confinement if they don't cooperate.
Yes.
So you believe that the prisoner wardens are going to execute it, the prisoner are going to make this decision whether this prisoner should be
I believe the chef.
the
chef.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so are you aware that there are corruption in prisons?
Yes.
And so and you mentioned the training of law
Therapists.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then where are the budgets?
Yes, actually, Taiwan government give ABS, which is association for.
But you mentioned you're going to
Yes.
improve. So
Yes.
where are the
They
budgets?
give this organization 6 million a year. We believe that that's
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Second negative, constructive speech. 4 minutes.
Good afternoon. First of all, let me start to revoke some of the affirmative's stance. First of all, the case of misjudgment will not be eliminated with the abolition of the death penalty. Whether or not the death penalty exists and whether there are miscarried cases are 2 different aspects. The death penalty is a form of punishment, whereas miscarriage should be avoided completely by enhancing of the judicial system, sufficient training on the judges, and more open judicial procedures. Furthermore, nowadays, in fact, the death penalty is actually better at preventing misjudged cases from happening. Judicial personnel takes matters of life or death with more discretion. After a criminal is sentenced to death, his case is then reviewed countless times between the High Court and the Supreme Court. These multiple court sessions are not included in cases of life imprisonment, and therefore the chance of a verdict amendment is much thinner in comparison. Secondly, the affirmative degraded our comparison of Japan and Singapore. However, we chose these two countries because they have more similar cultural histories and political stances as Taiwan. They're both Asian countries and they're also developed countries. Thirdly, they said that there are possible cases that happened before the public opinion poll was conducted. However, the public opinion poll was that 80% of the people are for the death penalty, and therefore that statistical number is still undeniably high. Now, about making them work in prison. The convicts currently on death row have done serious and often violent crimes. Making them do labor work means that we have to put them with the general population in prison. This will not only cause panic among the other inmates, but also indicates that additional security, which leads to additional budgets, be added to keep close tabs on these potential brutal death row inmates. Now, about deterrence. Even if they argue that different social factors from different countries may have influential effects, however, our study from Emory University was that every execution can deter 18 murders. This is an undeniably high number. So, if an execution can prevent future murders from happening, there will be merit to the society. The existence of the death penalty dissuades people from committing serious crimes, and in this case, the death penalty not only saves future victims from a terrible fate, it also saves the would-be murderers from a life imprisonment. As a result, the death penalty saves lives. Now, the death penalty is a legitimized measure of a fairly intact system. The government, if my family member were harmed and I seek personal revenge on that person, then I would in fact face lawful punishment myself. However,